Olympic Park in Melbourne. It's the Melbourne Storm versus the Newcastle Knights.
It's a fine afternoon in Melbourne as we take a look at the Storm lineup for their opening game of the season. Matt Orford, the halfback, has been passed fit to play. There is one change in the forward pack, though, with Alex Chan coming off the bench. Rodney Howe goes back to the interchange bench with Reynolds and Williams and Glenn Turner also there. The coach is Craig Bellamy. For the Newcastle Knights, David Siege once again is the fullback this week after Robbie O'Davis injured a calf muscle last week. George Carmont, an 18-year-old, will make his debut on the wing in place of Anthony Quinn. The rest of the side is the same team that was picked earlier in the week. The coach is Michael Hagan. Shayne Hayne is our referee today. The Newcastle Knights elected to kick off, and it will be the Melbourne Storm who get first use of the football with the breeze at their backs. Shayne Hayne standing by on the sideline, perched out there as he did last year, like Bill Harrigan, and Andrew Johns kicking into this breeze, lobs it up into the air. Orford does a good job blocking for Peter Robinson, but they get through and pile him into the ground. Badiris and also Matthew Gidley there to make the tackle. Alex Chan getting his first touch as a Melbourne Storm player. They go to the right-hand side where Kidwell, the former Rooster, plays it just short of the 30. Here's Kearns now. Grabbed downstairs by Badiris with Warno over the top for the moment. Keeping Parsons on the bench is Adam Warno. Smith from dummy half. Coming down the short side and putting that left boot on it. A good kick will force David Siege down into the corner, and of course many eyes on him this afternoon. Impressive last week after coming off the bench, and gets lucky perhaps there with a ball which bounced up in the air out of his grasp and landed on the chest of George Carmont.
Melbourne Storm looking to get off their line extremely quick. Shayne Hayne finding the first penalty of the afternoon. But you mentioned David Siege. He had a fantastic 60 minutes last week, but his job was made much easier in the fact that most of the kicks were being done by Craig Gower. There was no dummy half kicking, but today he's coming up against Orford, Hill and Cameron Smith out of dummy half. He's got to be great positionally this afternoon.
Simpson taking it down the short side. Plays it to Badiris. Flat pass away to Josh Perry, who was standing there waiting for it at the advantage line with not much of a run-up. Badiris to Johns, who changed the angle to Kennedy, working it down this blind side. He's grabbed by Robinson. 25 out from the Melbourne line with a couple of tackles left in this set. Simpson going a long way before he got it off to Matthew Gidley. Wrapped up. Matt Geyer there with Cameron Smith to make the tackle. Johns into this breeze, will lob it into the air. Moala watches it bounce over his head, and it did a leg break over the touchline. It will come back to the Melbourne Storm for a scrum feed, 10 out from their own line.
Yeah, had a bit too much on that kick, Andrew Johns, but Moala needs to be a little bit careful. He was standing 15 metres in field, and young Carmont held his touchline, held his width. That kick had to been spot on. Moala could have found himself in a bit of trouble.
It is rather breezy here this afternoon at Olympic Park, perhaps strengthening all the time as we go downstairs to Russell Fairfax.
Yeah, dead white, Warren. It's picked up. It was about a 5-pointer to begin with. It's about 10 to 12 now, and it's favouring, of course, the home side, the Storm.
Well, they'll play it here, 10 out from their own line. Kearney, the captain, set upon by a number of Newcastle Knights there, including Kurt Gidley and also Adam Warno. The forwards work it away from their own end. Billy Slater getting involved though, taking it up, and now here's Kearney yet again. The Storm a penalty. The players down the short side, up inside the 10, and with this breeze, Scott Hill will find the line and put them on the attack.
Yeah, and I suppose the Knights, you know, they've changed their style of defence in the off-season when there's one-out runners and they're looking to get off their line a lot harder. It's a lovely offload there by Robbie Kearns. They probably will get penalised until they get used to it, and the referees get used to them defending like it.
Orford now showing it before he goes to Peter Robinson, who takes it towards the post. Options either side for Smith, who goes to Hill down that right side. He steps off the right foot, but they were there to grab him Abraham, a good tackle down low. Smith again to dummy half. Orford, second man play. Comes back for Alex Chan, who takes it to within about 6 or 7 of this Newcastle Knights line. First real attacking chance of the game for the Melbourne Storm. Robertson into a hole, but the pass was forward.
We spoke about their up and in defence. That time they started to slide on their line. They misread it. Looked as though it was a little bit forward by Cameron Smith, but you can see, oh, that's flat. You can see the numbers lining up for a second man play. Shayne Hayne getting a call from his touch judge.
Weren't too many protests from the Melbourne Storm players after the call by Shayne Hayne, so a let-off for the Newcastle Knights as Kennedy faces a little bit of up and in defence himself. Badiris going quickly from dummy half, trying to get something going here as they take it to the 20-metre line through Adam Warno. 5 minutes gone here. No score at Olympic Park between the Storm and the Newcastle Knights. Badiris giving it to Kennedy. Another touch. A good run this time from the Australian representative. They'll play it to Badiris, and John suddenly with some room to move to get the kick away. Not a bad one either. Into this breeze, it bounces towards the try line even further still. Billy Slater picking it up, and with Robbie Ross announcing his retirement earlier this week, you would think that Slater will be the fullback for some time here. Of course, they have bolstered that position with the former Penrith player Steve Turner being signed at the end of 2003. They were hoping to play Slater in the centres this year on one side of the park with Stephen Bell on the other, but it's Matt King and Ben McDougall who will play in the centres to start this season. Bell still out for some time with a stress fracture to the foot. Geyer playing it back to Smith, and Orford now will kick again down to this corner with the help of the breeze away from David Siege, but the kick's too strong, and the fullback happy to watch it over the dead ball line.
Yeah, that will be a problem this afternoon for the Storm in this first 40 minutes. It's a strong breeze. Just got to take a little bit off the kick.
Take it back, like I'm ready. We've got to be ready. Go.
It's Siege, the fullback, who will take it forward from the tap restart.
Just let him go, Robbie. The hands on him, mate. Let him go.
Robbie Kearns penalised for trying to slow the play the ball down. And they won't go to the line. They'll take the tap and keep it in play from the middle of the park, probably into this breeze. There weren't a lot of metres to be gained for Johns. Now Simpson across the halfway line. The captain will get to dummy half. He gives it off to Josh Perry. A big season for him, of course. Picked for New South Wales in the Origin series before being suspended midway through that series last year. Now Johns, spiral pass, a good one too from Kurt Gidley to Kennedy. Juggled, getting through Abraham, turns it back on the inside for David Siege. What a try from the Newcastle Knights. Some blistering hands down the left-hand side, and they will play from in front here this afternoon.
Well, it was great hands by the Newcastle team. They went a couple of long passes, and then they got Melbourne to slide. And then Kennedy got the football, and just a little left foot jink to go into the slide, and then pass the ball around the corner to Abraham. Great take, and David Siege, like all good fullbacks, supporting the ball carrier. They got the Melbourne Storm to slide, and then it was a straightened run by Kennedy. He was going across field and straightened up, then Abraham coming close support as Johns lines the kick up, converts.
Well, of the last 7 games between these two sides, Melbourne have won just one, and that was against a depleted Newcastle outfit here at Olympic Park last year. And they've only beaten that man once. An impressive record for Newcastle with Andrew Johns in the side against the Melbourne Storm.
Stay on side. Stay back.
Early days, but the Storm would like to reply to that opening try from Newcastle. And here's the kick from Cameron Smith, sailing over the dead ball line. A penalty back at the halfway line.
And he just touched that, didn't he? Cameron Smith, he didn't look to give it too much. John's looking to go for the touch finder. He finds it. They're looking to play an up-tempo game. trying to run the Storm around a little bit early, the Newcastle team. This is their first game. You'd expect after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, the lungs would start to get a bit heavy for Melbourne.
Here come Newcastle again. Warno will play it here to Badiris, who comes to Steve Simpson, working down this right-hand side with Matt Gidley and Tahu outside him. It's a lethal combination, the three of them. Johns back on the inside for Perry, who was grabbed around the shoulders there by Kearney. No call from Shayne Hayne. Here's Johns cutting out a couple of them to Tahu, looking for the corner, who went very close to scoring, so close in fact. Shayne Hayne will send it upstairs to the video referee Mick Lewis to take a look at.
Well, it'll be interesting. He doesn't seem to be too happy, Tahu.
The left foot here of Tahu, the one to watch, touches the line there initially before coming back into play. So a good call by Ulori Daly, I think, and we'll see no try. Having said that, though, of course, there have been some video refereeing controversies to start 2004, haven't there?
There certainly has been. But Mick Lewis has got the job today. I think this will be a no try. Quite clearly you can see Tahu's leg touching.
Mick Lewis, our video referee. He comes up with green lights. A try to the Newcastle Knights.
That will do, mate.
Andrew Johns from wide out can give Newcastle a healthy lead here, running into this strong breeze. The kick slewing away to the left-hand side, courtesy of the breeze. But they lead 10 points to 0 after only 10 minutes of play here at Olympic Park. Here it is again. Watch the left foot on the line there. Surely you would think from Tamana Tahu. It seemed to be no betting.
Oh, I can't believe that. How do they get it wrong? How do they get it wrong when you can watch his leg and you see it touch the line? Jeez.
Well, all I can imagine is there was some doubt on the replay, and with the benefit of the doubt going to the attacking team in that instance, Newcastle have come up with 4 points through the Tahu try.
Well, with the technology we've got and we still get it wrong, is it worthwhile having?
It seemed to be a very clear cut, that one. We'll talk about it later on as Kennedy takes it up towards the halfway line. Newcastle out by 10 here, keeping pace with the clock at the moment. Simpson takes it up towards the halfway line. Now Badiris to Johns. And Slater taking it on the full, brings it back outside the 20, but Newcastle on this narrow field here at Olympic Park, plenty of chases up the middle. And they hold down Slater too long in the tackle, says Shayne Hayne. And they'll get a relieving penalty once again. It'll be Scott Hill who'll find the line. As he takes this particular kick and finds the line in Newcastle territory. Here's an angle once again. That left foot out of range there from Tamana Tahu. There was contact with the sideline before that particular angle. Here's Kearns. An offload away to Slater, searching for a hole. Picked up in a tackle there by Badiris. In front of the post, 20 out. Smith goes to Warford and turns it back on the inside for Kearney. I'll keep it going to the right-hand side. Hill, a cut-out ball. Way to Moala, who took it well before he was tackled there by Carmont. They'll get a penalty. And trailing 10-0 with his breeze at their backs and wide out. There's no risk. They'll be tapping it and going here. Kidwell does that and gives it to Robbie Kearns.
They can't afford to play catch-up and panic at this stage of the game, though, the Melbourne Storm. Just got to continually work their sets over, work Newcastle around.
Kearney standing there with his back to the defence for a moment, looking for an offload. Very quickly from dummy half they go. Smith tried it on. He almost got there. Here's Hill. He'll run at the line now. Gets across the line and plants the ball down for Melbourne's first try of the season. And didn't they need it? They respond just like that. A penalty sends them down the field. They get another one close to the line. From that Johnson of 6. Cameron Smith almost scored. Scott Hill did.
It should be 6-all, but it's not. It's 10-4. With Smith getting the chance to convert the Hill try. Inside your 20-metre zone when you're defending against Melbourne and Scott Hill gets the ball, you've got to assume that he's going to run.
Scott Hill burrowing underneath.
And you've got to move off your line. You can't afford to start sliding. You need to push forward, thinking he's going to run, cover the inside, and then when he's passed, you've nominated, you know where to go to. He's dangerous in that position and scores the majority of his tries that way.
Cameron Smith with the conversion. It is good. And Newcastle's lead very quickly has been cut from 10 to 4 with just on 15 minutes gone here at Olympic Park. The try scorer, Scott Hill. A welcome return to the NRL. A try with one of his first touches this afternoon. He'll have enjoyed that. It certainly will give the Storm some hope as Andrew Johns again, I'm sure, will loft this kickoff high into the breeze. It'll hang there, and it's Robinson once more who takes it. A little less pressure on him this time. The kick was a bit deeper. Orford from dummy half gives it to Alex Chan. A slow play the ball. Perry taking a long time to get off him as David Kidwell takes it across field. Taken downstairs low by Johns. Kennedy over the top. Spin him in the tackle. Kidwell pinches a couple of metres, which only really shortens the 10 for the Melbourne Storm. Kearney playing it. Smith from dummy half, kicking early in the tackle count here from outside the 40. But the kick is a good one. And they'll force the Newcastle Knights to feed it at their own 10.
Yeah, coming out of trouble, the Storm looking to play the Knights through the middle. And just allowing options in both sides for the kicking game. Smith to dart out to the left edge and Orford to come round to the right. It was a good kick, that one. Just rolling out over the sideline. They would have liked to have kept that in play. Just choose off the time when you got your wind at your back in the first 40 minutes. They need to keep the ball in play, the Melbourne team.
It's out.
Matthew Gidley grabbed here by Slater and then Hill, and then passed the ball after he was called to play it. And Melbourne get a penalty in front of the post.
Hey. Hang on. Okay, now. What's that?
They were still pushing him in the tackle.
Yes.
They're still pushing him backwards.
But they can't stop. They can't stop on sixpence. He called him held, and then he offloaded the ball. No, I'm not looking at it. I called what I see.
No,
Okay?
mate, you know,
It's
we
good.
want to do our best to get out.
Okay, mate. Good. Good, mate. Yep. Chop and go.
Well, it seemed to be a good call by Shayne Hayne. There's no doubt the tackle was affected. And then Gidley, in perhaps a panic that he was going to be barreled back eventually into the in-goal area, tossed the ball, but Shayne Hayne's hands were tied after he called held, and Gidley popped it.
Yeah, and the rules are now with no dancing around, and as soon as they call, you know, obviously they can't stop straight away, but they give them a reasonable amount of time after they've called to release. If they had went on with that tackle, then Newcastle would have been receiving the penalty.
That's exactly right. Had another player joined the tackle as well, coming in, the third man in, it would have been called what is now supposed to be known as a vertical flop. Smith from right in front narrows the gap. The difference was 10, now it's 2. The Newcastle Knights lead the Melbourne Storm 10 points to 8 here at Olympic Park. A deeper one this time from Johns. Billy Slater will take it and give it off to Alex Chan, who put a step on Tamana Tahu, who threw an arm out there. Now Robinson met down low by Simpson in a good tackle with Gidley over the top. Smith to Robbie Kearns.
Steve, I called you up. You weren't scared.
The Newcastle Knights this time not square at marker. A real pattern developing here in this last 5 minutes or so. Melbourne get a kick-off, get a penalty to take them down the field, and here they come on the attack once again. And we're never back to 10 from the tap.
I'm here.
And will be marched. They're unraveling shown in the past is not a referee to be trifled with when it comes to back-chatting, and he has quickly made his mark here this afternoon.
Well, it's good to see the referees playing it like that. Some referees just put up with plenty, and Hayne, who I think's got a big future in the game, stamped his authority on the match already.
Orford now with Kearney outside him, propping on that right foot. We haven't seen him take the line as yet, but it won't be too far away, I'm sure. Kearney doing exactly that. Grabbed by Abraham, got a fast play the ball away. Trouble on the right-hand side. Hill got it away eventually. Slater was there. He'll play it. 9 out from the Newcastle line. Hill grubbering early in the tackle counts. Orford was chasing, but the kick was always too big.
Yeah, I think it was a late chase by Matty Orford. I don't think they really had that communication in that set of 6. They rushed it a little bit. He reacted when the kick was put through, but I don't think there was an actual call being made. And Hill, after he was knocked over, you could sense him with he put his hands up to his head. He thought, third tackle, what have I done?
Parsons is out there for the Newcastle Knights. Playing it there to Badiris. A change by Michael Hagan as Tahu comes midfield to help out the forwards. He plays it to Badiris. No markers for the Storm. He goes quickly, and Robinson drags him down from behind. Good run from the Australian hooker. Johns now going a long way before throwing a lovely pass. Carmont ends up with it. A good take from Russell Richardson to give it to Carmont, and that will be the changeover on the last tackle.
Yeah, good play there by Melbourne Storm defensively. Knights looking to run it on the last play. They had them for numbers, but it wasn't the long ball which was required. They needed to go through the hands. The long ball just allowed the Storm defensive line that extra bit of time to slide across.
Reynoldsson, unmistakable in the Ned Kelly beard, still out there for Melbourne as Craig Bellamy also goes to his bench. Orford, short ball back on the inside, well held by Robinson. Just outside his 40. Orford here will do the chipping over the top for Billy Slater. Need to bounce and got one. Has players on his outside. King is there, but the final pass went forward.
Well, King needed to pass that a little bit earlier. He didn't realise that Richardson was so close. Enterprising stuff, though, by the Melbourne Storm. They've got a strong breeze at their back, and Siege is playing deep, so they elected to go short. That's what Vision's all about. And then the ball onto King, and King just throwing it forward. That was well played, that by Melbourne. They've teased Siege all afternoon with the long kicks with the breeze. They get him going back, and then they put a short one over the top.
It almost worked here in the first half with the breeze at their backs, but they will try it a couple of times, I'm sure, running into the breeze in the second half, with Slater chasing through and the ball holding up for perhaps Orford and Hill to come up with a kick like that. Kennedy stepping off the right foot. Tackled downstairs by Hill. Badiris giving it to Perry. He'll play it on the last tackle. It comes to Johns. This time he rubbers it low, looking into the corner. It bounces over the head of Billy Slater. Good kick from Johns, and there he is, making the chase and the tackle on the fullback as well. They say he's as fit as he's ever been, Andrew Johns, and he certainly looks at Laurie.
Yeah, great kick and chase there by Andrew Johns, and he kept it low. He got a lot of value out of keeping it low, not putting it high. As another penalty comes to Melbourne, they're just not getting back to 10. Newcastle, they are in front of the referee.
Well, last week they were up in the faces of the Panthers and really stifled the Penrith attack, but today trying to do the same thing. They are being pinged by Shayne Hayne, and once again Melbourne have it here with the first tackle. Kearns will take it inside the Knights 30. A chance for the Storm to hit the lead for the first time. They take it down the short side. Danny Williams, the super sub, will play it inside the 20. Smith from dummy half. Comes to Orford. Cut-out ball to Slater. The decoy runners went through, and then Slater puts a kick in for Matt Geyer. David Siege forced to play it. Took it across the touchline. Melbourne will get possession back here, but a kick early from the fullback with not much happening. I'm sure it wasn't in the playbook.
No, I'm sure when he first put it onto the boot, Craig Bellamy would have been up in the coach's box thinking, what have you done? But it's turned out to be a right play. Look, the Storm, they need to be in front at half-time with this strong wind at their back, because everything that the Storm can do, Newcastle can do just as good with the wind at their back. Craig Bellamy looking on. Oh, dear.
A pass which goes past Matt King, who somehow got back there to pick it up. Gets up to go again. Now he'll be penalised with the ball.
And I called Hill twice.
Well, he did well to get back and clean up the crumbs, and then bounce back to his feet after being called to play it. And once again, Shayne Hayne, no choice but to give Newcastle the penalty.
Had a few penalties already in the game, but he's handled himself quite well, Shayne Hayne.
Michael Hagan watching on from the coach's box. Perry taking it forward towards the halfway line. Parsons, the veteran. Now Johns at first receiver. A long looping pass away to Matthew Gidley. Well handled there by Ben McDougall, who's proven to be a handy pickup for Melbourne with the problems they have in the centres to start this season. Badiris to Johns. A cut-out ball for Kurt Gidley, who has Kennedy with him. A similar play to the one which scored David Siege in the opening try of the game. Carmel from dummy half. Comes to Badiris, who taps it on. Fijian 7 style off John's legs. He was grabbed, and now Matthew Gidley gets the kick away from inside his own half. And Matt Guy will bring it back a long way here before he finds the Newcastle defence. He hands it off to Cameron Smith, who was thinking about linking up with the players on his right-hand side, but he'll take the tackle.
Well, the Knights are going about it differently to what they did last weekend. Last weekend they had a lot of success with short passing game. But today they're back into their old rhythm of trying to go long.
Orford will play it. Smith goes to Hill, who takes them on. He saw a gap and he was almost through it. Parsons made the tackle with the help of Perry. Here's Orford, who goes to the air off the outside of the right boot. The kick once again carried by that breeze over the dead ball line. They haven't quite got that right yet, the Melbourne Storm kickers.
Well, I don't know whether that was the right play. They should be running it to the last. They've got to be trying to run Newcastle around. There's some space out there for them. The Knights forwards are getting a little bit tired. Orford starting to run the football. Hill looks dangerous when he runs. Guy out of dummy half, McDougall out of dummy half. These are the players that can call Newcastle some trouble.
Oh, mistake here by the rookie, Carmon. He just ambled out of dummy half and then was hit in the tackle, panicked and put it down. And he's given Melbourne a great chance here. 13 minutes remaining in this first half to add to their scoreline.
It's a big step up, isn't it, for Carmon? Playing for Raymond Terrace last year in the local competition. All of a sudden, round 2 in the NRL. There he is on the left wing.
Hill giving it away to McDougall, who will play it. Slater gives it off to Glenn Turner out there in 17 now in that shock of blonde hair. The third replacement made by Coach Craig Bellamy. Dyer, the utility man, if ever there was one, will play it just inside the 20. Smith to Orford with players in motion. He goes to his outside Hill to Kidwell. Quickly on to Matt King, who is a handful. On this occasion, he's taken by Andrew Johns, who copped a knock in the mouth. Orford from dummy half gives it off to Hill, who was looking to offload but hung on to it. Last play for Melbourne. Orford looking to Grubber. In behind them, Johns was there. The captain, who made a tackle on the left-hand side, knew where the trouble was going to eventuate, got to the post and picked up the grubber kick. That's tremendous vision.
It's great play by the skipper. Really inspirational. Look, he's found himself in defence on the left, on the right, and he's come up with some big plays at the right times. That's what you come to expect from the world's greatest player.
Big tackle here on Walno, who is back out there after a short breather. They are muscling up in defence here and belting the Newcastle forwards. Johns to Kurt Gidley with some space suddenly. Richardson outside him. Gidley still going. Wrapped up by King on the last play.
Well, that'd be disappointing for Craig Bellamy. Great vision by Johns, but the forwards made an effort to try and put some kick pressure on. And yet your outside men were hanging back, thinking about the kick. When you know your forwards are going to do something special, get off their line hard, put kick pressure on, the whole line has to do it. Especially when you're coming from outside in.
There was a real chance there, as you say, to put some pressure on Kurt Gidley had they pushed up and perhaps force a turnover inside the Melbourne 20. A loose pass from McDougall, though, to Geyer, who puts a little shuffle on Tamana Tahu and then offloads another good ball back on the inside to McDougall. Slater at fullback. Shayne Hayne calling the Newcastle backline behind him. Knocked on by Orford. Well, it was building on the right-hand side. Had Orford hung on to it, they'd worked almost a 4-on-2 down that right-hand side. Kennedy is down at the moment for Newcastle. There are players strewn all over the park.
Great. Stand up.
Kennedy,
Haven't called him on yet.
okay to continue on here. Take his place at the back of the scrum for Newcastle. Just checking out his neck as he's stretched and flexed on the ground there, being looked at by one of the Newcastle trainers. They'll take it down this left-hand side where Woolnough will play it at the 30. Badiris giving it to Carwell. Again, they get there in numbers to meet him. Parsons looks up and sees Reynoldson, also Williams there. Again, 3 in the tackle for Melbourne. Doing a good job of slowing the play. The ball's down at the moment as Gidley gets to first receiver. Johns in behind them. Picked up by Matt Gidley. He had support. Kicked for Tahu. Geyer in a race with Tahu. The ball is still there. And once again, we're off to the video referee.
But then check the ground, mate.
Well, I think if the ball's on the ground there and he gets his hand on it with any sort of motion, I'm prepared to say it's downward pressure. There it is there. You've got to say there's downward pressure there. The ball touching the surface. Tahu's fingers certainly on the ball.
Yeah, I'm prepared to change my opinion.
You're going green lights.
I'll go green light.
Well, this one here doesn't give us much of a clue.
Well, this one is a difficult one.
Well, I'm lost. I'm lost. Obviously, there was no downward pressure there from Tamana Tahu. He's been ruled to have knocked the ball on.
That's one movement now, movement, hold.
I don't know where to go.
I've moved on, Warren. Be like me.
You've put it behind you? I think we have to for the moment, but I'm sure it'll be spoken about. Of course, all these decisions are subjective, but I think we see a lot which a lot of people don't agree with. Orford from inside his own 40 getting the kick away. It might turn out to be a square up, of course. Newcastle, we thought, very lucky to be given the second try to Tamana Tahu when he had a foot on the touchline before scoring, according to us, of course.
Yeah.
That one we thought green lights and it came up no try, so I'm prepared to say they even each other out, and the scoreline is a fair one at the moment.
Dominant 3, he lost his legs.
Here's Badiris from dummy half to Parsons. Johns getting it off quickly to Matt Gidley. 2 tackles left here. Johns sends Tahu down the short side, but he makes himself a target now for the Melbourne players getting off the defensive line, and because of that, Johns, with nowhere to go, had to give it away quickly. What a pickup from Slate! And the pass was forward from Slater to Moala, who was then cleaned up by the Newcastle defence.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Danny.
It was tremendous hands from Slater first up to pick up the football, and then the pass was ruled to be forward, and there's the contact with Michael Ennis, who's only just on the field for Newcastle. No doubt that he got Moala high. A bit of contact on the jaw there as he then slips down around the throat region of Moala, and Shayne Hayne will have a chat to everybody.
Mate, we... Absolutely. Okay, mate. Good. Yes, 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 and this one's high. Right, I want you to get him down. We'll place it on report, just to cover.
Mike Lennis placed on report. Perhaps his first involvement in the game. A high tackle on Fafita Moala. And again, it will send the Storm on the attack. They'll take it from the tap inside the Newcastle Knights 40. Here's Reynoldson. Orford gives it off to Turner. He'll play it 20 in from this western touchline. Orford cuts out one to give it to Hill. He finds Kidwell. A second man play again to Slater. The Newcastle defence read it well. Carmont made the tackle. Moala from dummy half. Grabbed there by Kennedy. 2 tackles left in this set. Kearns taking it forward before he gave it to Williams, who was under pressure immediately. He was hit very heavily. Now Hill to Orford. Outside him. Chipping in behind Slater. Emerged from nowhere to take it on the full and score. But once again, Nick Lewis, it's all yours.
Well, from the naked eye, it looked as though he was onside. And the pace that Billy Slater comes through was enormous. He's onside by a mile. Lovely kick, though, wasn't it, from Matty Orford? Look, that's class. Under pressure, someone coming out of the line to put and attack the football, and you to hook it back, a banana kick. The kickers over the last 3 or 4 years have taken the kicking game to a new level. They work so hard on it at training. Come on, Mickey boy. Green light.
There it is. We got one. I knew he would eventually. But you always knew Billy Slater would get one at some stage early in the season. He only had to wait half an hour to grab his first 4-pointer, and he puts the Melbourne Storm in front. A game that was all the Knights for the first 10 minutes, but the last 20 have belonged to the home team. They lead 12 points to 10. The banana off the outside of the boot after some poor kicks earlier on from the Melbourne Storm was an absolute ripper, and Slater timed his run to perfection. And the real entertainment package here at Olympic Park gives the fans a reason to cheer once again.
He's an exciting player, isn't he? Billy Slater, the Rookie of the Year. Smith lines it up and converts. And it's been through their defence. They've had a willingness to show some passion and really make some good contact. And when they're running with the football, they're prepared to push into space and take the contact, take the collision, and then getting up. Newcastle are bouncing away. The Storm are having to play the balls, and having success.
Matty Guy juggles the kickoff, and because of that, he was hit by Tamana Tahu and Kurt Gidley just outside his own 10. Turner playing it to Smith, who comes to Robbie Kearns, looking to offload. He's got several away already this afternoon. Good afternoon's work already from the big front rower as Reynoldson counted up towards the 40. We'll see if they kick early here from inside their 40. They won't. Williams just bumps it up to the halfway line. Standing there in the tackle, still going. They love him here at Olympic Park. And Orford, high in the air. Some pressure on David Siege, who backing back towards his own post, made a nice catch.
He's been safe today, David Siege. He runs with the football in that right hand unconvincingly. I'm sure teams will start to work out. Maybe there's an opportunity to get a one-on-one steal with him at some stage.
Richardson working it back midfield from dummy half for Newcastle. Will play it here at his own 20. Storm's defensive line has been very good at this end of the park, limiting the metres from the Newcastle forwards. Here's Johns, turning it back on the inside for Woolnough. Got a pass away to Siege, who was just floating around the middle of the park, looking for an offload and got one. Johns on the last play, kicking, doesn't find the line. Slater, though, coughs it up. After some super hands earlier in the game on some difficult kicks, this one bounces up. He makes the mistake, and Newcastle will get a chance here to level this game.
Yeah, interesting. Billy Slater playing at the football. After he made the mistake, there hasn't been too many pats on the back for him to tell him to keep his head up. And to me, Billy Slater looks like a confidence player. Interesting to see how he goes in the next couple of minutes before half-time.
He's defending here, one off the scrum up against Kurt Gidley. And he made the tackle with Scott Hill downstairs. Here's Siege from dummy half. Taking it to within about 18 of the Melbourne Storm try line. Badiris goes to Parsons. He takes it towards the post, grabbed around the leg by Reynoldson. John's at first receiver on this right-hand side. Cut-out play, Kurt Gidley with Matthew Gidley outside him across the line. It was too simple. He took it to the line. The Melbourne Storm outside back sliding all the time. And Matthew Gidley gets a try. They've locked the game up. Once again, we're tied here at 14 each.
Well, again, the Storm, they're sliding 4 or 5 metres off their own try line. I really think that you've got to push forward. Get yourself in a position where you can start to... See, they come up and then start to back away. They've got to come up a little bit further and then back away.
The kick from Johns is wide. We stay at 14 each here. Here's Smith. With that breeze at his back, just chipping it down into the corner where Siege gave it off to Matt Parsons, who lifted a left leg. Turner was able to avoid it in making the tackle. Lowry here, grabbed by Reynoldson. Badiris to Johns. Back on the inside for Kennedy. Wrapped around the collar by Cameron Smith. Kennedy appealing for a high tackle and a penalty. Johns, a good ball back on the inside. If they've been dangerous down that left-hand side with those inside passes. Johns again. Richardson hanging on to it. Eventually lost it. The ball went forward, and it will be a knock-on against the Knights. Newcastle should finish this first half with the ball in their hands.
And I think, sorry, Warren, I think that's a lesson there for the Storm. And they didn't get bitten that time. But they were probably thinking the Knights will work it off their own line and get the kick just before half-time. But they played an up-tempo game, and it's a short passing game that causes Storm a lot of trouble.
Get up.
And the ruck area, quick play the ball.
Good, Denny, make sure your arms over the top.
When you're defending against Newcastle, your short side's got to be numbered up properly. Badiris is a specialist at coming down there.
Orford kicking early in the tackle count. Slater is flying, but he gave them all a very big head start. The ball bounced away from David Siege. Good chase from Slater, but they were anticipating it, floating backwards, and the fullback was there. Johns will play it inside his own 20. They'll be happy with this Newcastle, having run into the breeze in this first 40, to be on level terms going into the break. Parsons up there by Turner. Badiris from dummy half will give it to Johns. The last play of the first half. Kurt Gidley grubbering in behind them. Towed over the sideline by Matt Dyer. What an action-filled half we've seen here at Olympic Park to kick off Melbourne's first foray into the Premiership in 2004. 14 each between the Storm and the Knights. In the first half, they didn't get the ball back, but Melbourne, their first crack at it, and they do get a reward here.
Yeah, not the start that Newcastle were looking for. He had plenty of time, Kurt Gidley, but the chasers was there. When he's about to take the ball, King's coming down. And Melbourne get first opportunity in the second half to attack close to the opposition line.
Slater got a run around and grabbed around the throat there by Tahu. Play on, says Shayne Hayne. Slater, slow back to his feet. Gave Tahu the depths there. Here's Smith from dummy half. Goes past Reynoldson to give it to Kearns. He was met by Badiris and a good one-on-one tackle. Williams taking it to the line where he's met by Ennis. He'll play it. Only a couple of metres away from that Newcastle try line. Smith, a long pass to Warford. He's got Slater back on the inside. They came up very quickly to make the tackle on him. Badiris was the man affecting it. Here's Hill. Cut out pass to Matthew King. Through the hands. And then Fafita Moala, I think, did a Trent Barrett. He was over the line and has dropped the ball, I think.
Well, you kiss. That's lack of concentration. You've just had a 10, 12-minute rest. You get the first opportunity in the second half to score, and look at the put down. One hand. Look, that could turn a game. And if that turns a game, they'll look back at the end of the game and go, what happened? Why weren't you thinking correctly? Why didn't you place it down with two hands?
All he had to do was fall over the line. And he dropped it as cold as that. No try. As we expected. That will come back to haunt Moala. He watches that on tape. He might go home and throw the VCR out the window so he can't watch it on tape. Craig Bellamy watching on from up high. And now the referee, Shayne Hayne, is walking all the way over to the far touchline here. We might have a report.
There's a tackle here. Okay, you got him high. You've got to get him down, mate. Okay, he's seen it. Well, that's what we're penalising you for now. All right? Good, mate. Thanks. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Billy Slater, early in the tackle count, grabbed around the neck there by Tamana Tahu. And under the new rule for foul play, they have gone all the way back to early in the tackle count. So Fafita Moala, quite unbelievably, might find himself off the hook there if Melbourne can score.
Well, he'll be hoping.
And praying. Orford to Hill. John's up quickly. Hill still going. A ball back on the inside for Slater. Here's trouble. Stepping off his left foot. Grabbed by Parsons.
Great tackle by the big man.
Smith back to the right-hand side. Over the top. Here's a chance. Moala was there.
Two in the tackle.
Well, what about that time? King had the opportunity to give it to Moala again. Unopposed. He elected to go. It was a 2-on-1 strip.
Well, if it was a 2-on-1 strip, why wasn't it play on and why didn't Matt King score a try? I'm stunned by that decision. Here's Reynoldson.
He hasn't let the advantage go. He's blown his whistle straight away.
We might hear more about that. Williams out the back. It comes to Hill. Over the top to the man of the moment, Moala.
Great scramble offence by the Newcastle Knights.
Kidwell from dummy half to Robbie Kearns. He'll take it forward on play 4. Orford standing wide at first receiver. Gets it. They're all up in the line looking for a grubber through. It comes back to Williams. He puts a grubber in off the hands of a Newcastle player. And then it came to another in Matthew Kennedy, or Ben Kennedy rather, who I thought was offside.
Well, great work by Newcastle defensively. They protected their line. They didn't want any cheap points early in the second half. They put pressure on the Melbourne Storm. They didn't hold back. And there was a scramble there, which we haven't seen from Newcastle consistently over the last few seasons. They're taking pride in their defensive line. It's good to see. They can match it with anyone in the competition as far as points and skill with the football. But it's defensively, that's an area that's let them down.
Robbie!
Medeiros away to Parsons, who takes them to within 35 metres of the Melbourne Storm try line. 4 minutes gone. What a 4 minutes it's been in this second half. Johns cuts out Kennedy, comes to Richardson. Moala came in very quickly to drag him backwards with the help of King. Good defence from the outside backs. Medeiros down this short side to Carmont, who beat one. Luckily for the Storm, Kidwell was there. Play 5. Johns. A short ball away to Ben Kennedy.
5 metres straight away. Here.
Medeiros to Johns on the last tackle. Kicks over the top. Tahu jumping, batting it back in. So did Matthew Gidley. It came back to David Siege. Melbourne got a hand on it, a knock on against them. And Newcastle will come up with 6 more tackles.
You overran the ball. That's what it made look like went back. In 20, boys.
They had their crack at the Newcastle line with repeat sets, and now the Knights will get the same thing inside the Storm 20.
Good kick by Andrew Johns. Tamata Tahu, one of the best in the game, taking the high ball. Turner. If you're going to make all the effort to get down, you've got to go in fully committed. He was half-hearted.
A fast play the ball for the Knights.
All over. You let him go straight away, okay?
A penalty to Newcastle. It could have easily been construed as a professional foul, and Andrew Johns from right in front says we'll take a crack at 2.
Well, it's the only option he had, Andrew Johns.
Well, he lines that up. Let's go downstairs to Russell Fairfax, who's with the recently retired Robbie Ross.
Well, Robbie, it probably wasn't the start they wanted, but what was the mail in the dressing room? What did Craig Bellamy want the boys to do?
Well, it was quite obvious that they're hitting our left side. There's no doubt they're sending their big man down towards Matty Orford, but it's going to keep on. It's going to continue on, obviously. Yeah.
What about yourself? Disappointed to be leaving the game?
Yeah, certainly are. It's frustrating sitting on the sidelines watching the game, but at the end of the day, it was a bit of relief too because of the injuries I've had the last 3 years.
Now, can they still get this mob?
They certainly can. It's going to be hard because they've got the win against them, and like you said before, Joey's kicking game is going to be very hard to handle, but there's no doubt they've just got to slog it out.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Russell.
Robbie Ross, he will be missed by the Melbourne Storm fans here at Olympic Park, no doubt about that. Smith again with the kick-off, a deep one this time, too deep, it's out wide over the sideline on the full. For the second time in the game, he's kicked out on the full from the restart, and he hangs his head.
Just trying to get it close to the sideline, trying to get hang time. Johns doesn't waste any time.
Bring it back.
It's 25 metres out from the try line. Carmont looking around for the football.
Don't go early, watch the ball.
Newcastle set of 6, repeat set.
Here's Warner stepping away from them, came to Slater. The fullback dragged him down a couple of metres out. Medeiros from dummy half to Parsons. They need to show some resolve here, this Melbourne Storm defensive line. Medeiros to Johns. Back on the inside to Kennedy. He flops it out the back. It's a good offload. Kurt Gidley spinning out of the tackle. Coming across the park. Still going. Linked up with Michael Lennis. He's only 5 out from the post. He plays it to Medeiros, to Kennedy, charging at them. Matt Orford made a good tackle. It stays alive though. Gidley, super quick hands to Tahu, but the pass went forward, and the Newcastle Knights blow up.
He's riding right. He's standing there. Don't say a word. Don't say a word.
Well, I'm prepared to go to the touch judge on this occasion because there's a strong wind at the back.
Yes, he's right there. And I'm going with him. He's standing right in line.
There's a strong wind at the back of the Newcastle Knights, and it was a floating ball by Matty Gidley. Great hands by Kennedy. Out the back to Medeiros. I'll go with the touchy there.
We'll have to because the angles are poor one to try and tell on the replay from that position. The Storm hang on, perhaps luckily so, we'll never know. Here's Kearney fighting in the tackle.
Maybe, just go, just go. Yeah, but you need immediate movement.
Ben Kennedy isn't happy. He thought that Kearney was thrashing around in the tackle trying to milk it. And the Storm will pick up 10 or so metres from the kick for line, and now Rodney Howe, who's waited a long time to get into the game, gets his first touch here, almost 10 minutes into the second half.
Move it now, Matt, passing, straight up. Hold.
Reynoldson playing it at the halfway line. Orford back on the inside, looking for Slater once again. Here's Smith, picked up by Johns, driven backwards in the tackle. Here's Kidwell. Getting away almost from the Tom Lowry tackle. Good run from the lock forward. Slater from dummy half with no markers there, run to them. Woolno and Johns made the tackle. He plays it quickly. Orford chipping from Moala's wing. They'll stand there. Siege went up for it. They came down with it, Melbourne. Rodney Howe grubbing. Coming through to pick it up was Cameron Smith. And not Glenn Turner putting it down for one of the more unbelievable tries you will ever see.
Well, I'm stunned.
Oh, Rodney Howe loves a grubber, and won't he talk about this one for a long time to come if they get the green lights.
If they get the green lights.
Don't come at me. Don't come at me. You've got one captain, let him do it. No more, Kurt. No more.
Well, he's handled himself well today, Shayne Hayne. It's a frustrating game for both teams because there's a lot of passion. There's a lot of commitment being shown. They think they haven't been getting the decisions to go their way. There's a contest on the football. I think they're all onside.
Scott Hills came down with it as he goes into the pack here above David Siege. He flips it back. Reynoldson, a quick offload to Rodney Howe, who came up with that one, and they were pouring through in the middle. Geyer was there, so was Smith. Got the offload away to Turner. Hard to see a problem with it.
I think they're worried about maybe King touching the football, then on to Hill. But look, there's no problem with the kick from Howe onto Cameron Smith. Lovely ball onto Glenn Turner.
It is a try to Melbourne. They regain the lead here. They bombed one through for Fuda Moala, dropping it over the line. And they found the in-goal area once again in the most unusual of circumstances. A bomb which was just a lottery. It came down to Hill, Reynoldson, onto Rodney Howe. A kick directly across the park. Smith did well there with a Matthew Gidley pass of his own onto Glenn Turner, who punched the air. From right in front, Cameron Smith makes it 4 from 4 with his goal kicking. His kicking from the restarts hasn't been all that flash with 2 out on the full, but his goal kicking from pretty simple positions, it has to be said, has been perfect, as was this pass to Glenn Turner. Matty Orford with his back to the opposing try line, makes a mistake, and Simpson gets across the try line, but was held up.
Well, he's dropped it twice there, Orford.
Hold it. Time out here. Will they take it back, Simo? Yeah, it is. It is. Time out. We need a marker here. Just wait. Yeah. Hold. Just wait. Just wait.
So held up on the zero tackle. Here's a mistake from Orford as he was tackled. Simpson took it across the line, and luckily Reynoldson was there to hold him up. They tap it. We'll see if Newcastle can hit straight back.
Leave it now. Tackle one. Hold.
Badiris away to Johns. That famous in and away close to the line off the back of the hitter. They were waiting for him though. They worked on the inside of the line. Simpson, the man who was almost in, will play it to Badiris. Johns. Good pass to Gidley. He taps it on almost. Richardson picks it up. Abraham wrapping around the back, got it. He stops 10 metres away. Kurt Gidley looking for options. Nothing happening on the right-hand side. They're all up flat. He came back to Carmont, and in his first game of the NRL, he dives out to perhaps score once again for Newcastle.
Hey, don't come at me. You go back over there and wait there.
We might set a video referee record this afternoon.
As long as we get the decisions right, Warren. But Carmont in his first grade debut. It was great work. Just pushing away from Kidwell. He's got plenty of room to move. We see him come across. That's a try. That's a try by the youngster in his first grade debut.
Try it is. They're tied up once again. It's 20 playing 20. The Knights up against the Storm. Almost half an hour left here at Olympic Park. And Andrew Johns from the sideline will try and pull off one of those miraculous conversions to put Newcastle in front.
It's just the concentration that's let Melbourne down already this afternoon. When you're playing a high-quality opposition, you can't afford to give them any opportunities, let alone ones that you present yourself so easily. You've got to work hard, Melbourne. You'd back him in from here. He's done it before.
With the breeze helping him, he starts it out to the right-hand side. Laurie, you did your cash. We stay locked up. Johns misses from a difficult angle. And it's still 20 all.
I'd love to do a count on how many times when you've given someone a rap or you praise someone, in the next couple of minutes they do something wrong or they miss a kick.
You'd be 0 for 1,000.
Thanks for your support.
Smith, no problem. Here's Warno bringing it back out for the Newcastle Knights. Rock solid Smith bringing you all the action with have a punt. Daly beside me. 25 short of the halfway line. They play it there through Parsons. Tahu. Badiris from dummy half. To Johns. Taking it to the line, then grabbing for Carmont. He got a room service bounce. It comes to Badiris, looking and weaving. He wants somebody. There was support there, but the Melbourne Storm defence scrambled well. Johns has a chance out wide. He knows it. Gidley over the top to Tahu. Stepping back on the inside, searching for a way. He'll play it. 7 out from the Melbourne Storm line. Last tackle. Johns, a bomb across field. Moana lets it go. The breeze killed Joey's chances on the chip across the face of the Newcastle attacking line, and Carmont had no play. Moala happy to see it go out on the full.
Well, the short kicking game's been great from Newcastle. They've looked likely to get results out of it, just kicking in behind the winger. And they've only used it once, the Melbourne Storm, or twice, sorry, and both times Slater was the man and they had results. It was more the chip over the top. I'd like to see them do some work on the ground with their kicking game in behind the wingers, especially test out young Carmont. He hasn't been in this pressure situation before. Is he going to drop back last tackle? Is he going to stay up in the line?
Orford kicking for the line. Not a bad one either. It will pull up and David Seed will have to make a play at it. And Matt King, who is out there on that left wing now for the injured Matt Geyer, made a very good tackle. Johns here, taken at his own 10-metre line. To tell us more about Matt Geyer, here's Russell Fairfax.
Yes, Matt Geyer has a grade 3 medial ligament tear in his left knee. Won't need a reconstruction. The cruciate's okay, but he won't be back this afternoon and will probably be missing for up to 4 weeks.
Well, there's a real blow for not only Matt Geyer, but the Melbourne Storm, because Geyer, as he's done on so many occasions, can fill many holes in their backline.
Yeah, he's a big wonderful player, Matty Geyer. He has played representative football before.
Johns here with the clearing kick, a good one as well, carried by the breeze. From way inside his own 40, he finds the touchline 10 metres out from the Melbourne Storm try line, and Andrew Johns has given Newcastle a tremendous chance to hit the lead here once again.
Well, great work, wasn't it? Tremendous strike of the football, and with Guy being off injured, there's been a reshuffle in the Melbourne Storm side defensively. Matt King was playing right centre. He's now moved to left wing. Dave Kidwell has moved over to the right centre position. He's just been found out of position a little bit on that occasion. He needed to be aware that Johns was going to go for the 40-20 at some stage, or at least go for a deep kick.
Now stay in. Righto. Out.
Johns with the feed and the win. He gives it to Kurt Gidley. David Siege there, just running off his hip, was grabbed by Hill. A full set of 6, and they're only 10 metres out. Here's Kennedy. An offload away to Richardson. 4, 5 and 6 defenders there immediately to set upon him. Abraham straightening the attack. Will play just a couple of metres out. Here's Gidley, getting to first receiver now a lot in the second half. Gives it off to Perry. He's about 5 metres out when he plays it. Badiris turning it back on the inside. They were waiting though. They're well drilled, this Melbourne Storm defensive line. Siege was the target there, taking it down the middle of the ruck. Johns now on the last play. A cut-out ball. That one as well was forward to Tahu. Didn't matter in the end because he couldn't handle it. And the changeover will come to Melbourne at their own 10-metre line.
And they defended it differently that time, Melbourne. They pushed forward. They put them under pressure. They put Johns' pass under pressure. They put his runner under pressure. They lined up. They numbered well on a short side.
Here's Alex Chan. He's back out there now for the Melbourne Storm. Spent a portion of the game on the bench either side of half-time. Turning. 15 metres on his own side of halfway when he plays it. Rodney Howe. They race up out of the line to try and get a hit on him. He'll play it here. Orford kicking from outside the 40, trying to drive it low, looking for the touchline. Not a bad tactic from Melbourne. In their first game of the season, they will use up the clock here. Midway through this second half, just over 21 minutes remaining. It's still 20 each.
Interesting in that set of 6, Andrew Johns defended as a sweeper in behind the line. He probably thinks that the Melbourne Storm are looking to go the short little kick at some stage as well. Now, the Storm, they've got to counteract that if Johns is hanging in behind the line. They need to look to run it. They might be short.
Here's Simpson. Coming back to Andrew Johns, who had Kennedy on his outside. He turns it back on the inside, though, for Perry. We'll play it here at the Knights 30. Badiris to Johns. Going quickly. Another ball back on the inside for Kennedy. How many times do we see that during a game? Again down the blind side. Badiris. Back from Johns to Kennedy once more. Matthew Kennedy playing it here in 15. Waited 60 minutes to get his chance in this game. Simpson on the run around with Kurt Gidley. Got it away to brother Matthew. He was looking dangerous as they got him around the bootlaces. Kurt Gidley again at first receiver here. Taking some of the workload off Andrew Johns, and Moala makes a good catch. In the difficult circumstances, backing away from it with the bringers in his face. He took it on the chest comfortably.
Yeah, it looks a hard day for the back three, doesn't it? When the ball goes in the air, it is just swirling around. And there's a strong breeze at the back of the Knights. It's picked up in the second 40. Tremendous hit by Simpson.
On Rodney Howe, who got driven backwards. A great shoulder charge from Simpson. And off the back of that, Chan coughs it up. Now Johns on the counter-attack immediately. Comes to Russell Richardson. Spinning, still going. They stop him. 2 out from the Melbourne line. From Carmont to Johns to Abraham. He'll just settle it midfield. They get a penalty right in front of the post.
Straight away, you release him straight away and you push him over. Go.
They ignore the 2 points and take the tap. Johns to Carmont. They'll get 4, not 2, with a chance to make it 6. And the rookie, in his first game, grabs a double.
He showed plenty of strength there too to bust out of the tackle of Moala.
Here's the turnover initially from Alex Chan. He dropped it. Badiris was there And then from the penalty right in front of the post, they ignored the 2 points. Johns wanted to try it on down the left-hand side, and Moala a miss to let Carmont score. Newcastle lead 24-20.
The great strength shown by the youngster. A double on debut.
Johns the kick once again. He hasn't figured out this breeze in the second half. You mentioned how strong it is. It really is blowing from the right of your screen to the left at a great rate here in this second half. The post here at Olympic Park being blown around by that breeze, bowing over in fact. Newcastle, a 4-point lead with 17 and a half minutes remaining in the game. Perry here will bring it back for the Newcastle Knights. He'll play it just outside the 20. Abraham's now.
Turn, let him go, Cameron. Straight up. Get up on.
Here's Tahu. Straight through them. He looks at Billy Slater. Goes to his left. Now puts the speed on. Runs away from Slater, who makes the try-saving tackle. They're 3 metres out. Badiris quickly to Kennedy. Johns. Through it goes to David Siege. They stop him in the tackle, but the Storm are offside. And you would think from right in front here, Johns will take the 2 to make it a 6-point game. They don't again. They take the tap. And here's the captain for a dive underneath them. He's a metre out. Badiris will go to Kurt Gidley. A simple play for Abraham. They ignore the 2 once again and come up with 4 more. And they bust this game open at the business end. 28 points to 20. Newcastle suddenly have a game-winning lead over the Melbourne Storm.
Well, it was great work. In this situation, look, Rodney Howe, you needed to make the tackle even though you were called offside. You're talking about one of the quickest guys in the game, in Tamana Tahu, getting through your first line of defence, leaving him one-on-one with your fullback. It was just a lovely tackle by Billy Slater. And from there, they were under pressure, the Melbourne Storm. Lovely hole run by Abraham. And Kurt Gidley, again, the short pass.
It's a big lead now with Melbourne running into this breeze in the second half. They went back to the left-hand side. They could have taken 2 to give them a 6-point lead, but they thought there were more points in the offing. There certainly were.
Stay on side.
Well, it's some sort of job they've got in front of them now. 15 minutes left. They trail by 10, running into what is now a very strong breeze. They'll need more tackles like that. Chan over the top to knock Perry backwards. Here's Matthew Kennedy being grabbed by Stephen Kearney. And now it's a desperate situation. They're up quickly in the face of the Newcastle Knights here, trying to force a mistake. Badiris to Johns, kicking early in the tackle count once again. Looking for another 40-20. This time it crosses the line about 5 metres short of being a 40-20. But he'll control the match now. Billy Slater talking to his players, saying Fafita Moala needs to drop back earlier in the tackle count, but that's the advantage of having a 10-point lead. He can wait and see with the wingers drop back early. They'll put it through the hands and there'll be holes down the fringes of this Melbourne Storm defensive line.
Well, he's got good vision, Andrew Johnson. As you mentioned, he'll run it, he'll kick it. And with a strong breeze at the back, he can control the game now. He can find touch when he wants to. The Knights walk to the scrum. They chew up a bit of time on the clock. The legs are starting to become tight for the Melbourne team.
Kurt, never back on side. Kurt, you went early. You went early, yes? You went early.
Kurt Gidley up inside the 10.
Bloodwind out the back, mate. Clean it up. Clean it up.
Peter Robinson has a problem.
Right, let's go.
They'll attend to a cut. Matty Orford find the line here.
Oh, gee, not a real good kick, was it?
Well, didn't pick up a lot of metres, but it is into this very big breeze. Robbie Kearns takes it forward, pops it out the back, and puts Cameron Smith under a Great deal of pressure. They got to him quickly. Here's Kearney. They need to respond in this set of 6. You get the feeling as Orford steps in traffic, put away from the Matthew Kennedy tackle. He'll play at midfield, 20 out. Alex Chan got past the Simpson tackle. Slater was there waiting for it. Now goes from dummy half, searching for the try line. They were never back to 10. We might have somebody in the bin.
Try me out. Just, Billy, just hold. Beg your pardon? Yeah, but listen, there's been 5 and 6 penalties now in your 10 metres. I don't want it to become an issue. You keep your players onside, you tell them. Yes, I will wait. Wait? No. No, wait till he gets out there.
Shayne Hayne must have been very close to sending Simpson to the bin. They come at them again. Here's Hill. Away to Kidwell, and then Moana this time gets across the line. And as he should have done the first time, gets the ball down. How important now is the ball he dropped over the line? They're back within 6.
Well, every little thing that Moala's done today is really important. He should have come up with a try-saving tackle on Carmont. He should have scored a try. This time he's redeemed himself a little by getting a try in the corner. But he's got to produce something special in the next 10, 12 minutes. He's got to score another one under the sticks.
Even though he's a left footer, it's just about unkickable. He takes it back and drives it low. Oh, what a kick! Like a driver off the first tee into the breeze, he slows and gets them back within a converted try. 30 points to 26 inside that 6-point margin. It was a super kick.
Oh, great kick by Cameron Smith. Great commentary from Smith. What was going on there?
It had to be the perfect kick, and it was. That's how good it was.
You don't make mistakes.
That was unbelievable. If you could see how strong this breeze is here this afternoon, that'll be hard to top for the kick of the season. It could prove to be very important as they work it away from inside their 20. Kearns taking it up, met by Perry. He plays it as it comes to Kearney now. A good gain again from the captain. The Kirby international putting his hand up when he's needed. Orford was Slater back on the inside. They were sweating on him though. Abraham was there to make the tackle with Simpson. Last play, and Orford will kick, chipping it in the air. A hard one for Siege to get to. The Melbourne Storm players were up inside the 10. They couldn't make a play. And now Shayne Hayne blows time off. We'll have a touch judge come in for a report here on the kick.
Go away. Just go away. Come over here.
People try to pull out of the tackle. He doesn't. He continues on with it. Okay, solid charge.
A penalty to the Melbourne Storm. 25 out from the Newcastle line. Andrew John said it. A very big call in the context of this game with less than 10 minutes remaining. And the Storm trailing by 4. Newcastle trying to hang on desperately here. Smith away to Robbie Kearns. Stops 15 out from the Newcastle line. If they can't score in this set, they'll be desperate to get 6 more tackles. Kearney taking it forward. Look for them to work a play close to the post for Slater. Kearns takes it down the left-hand side, forced the issue, but Newcastle are up inside the 10 yet again.
He's looking, okay? You don't make it back, you'll end up out there, okay?
He's handled it again well, Shayne Hayne. They weren't back.
They take the tap quickly, and here's Slater. He could have easily sent Badiris to the sin bin, but he wants to finish this one as close as it is with 13 versus 13. Robbie Kearns, a couple of metres out from the post. They come to Orford. Here's Hill, a short ball away to Williams, who was grabbed down low by Johns. He saved the try. Kidwell from dummy half, feeds it to Hill. Orford was outside him. The 5'8" hangs on to it. 2 tackles left in this set. Smith goes to Kearney. He'll take the tackle. Last play. Slater's behind the ruck. Smith will go to Orford. Grubber off the hands of Newcastle from Russell Richardson, who knocked it forward. The Storm will get 6 more tackles from a scrum.
Well, they really want to go down their right edge, don't they, the Melbourne Storm? Hill and Orford have been parked together on this side, and Newcastle have handled it quite well. Be interesting to see whether they split.
Just out the back, mate.
Just make it a little bit more difficult for the Newcastle defence to read.
Go, come on, no.
But Slater's the man you want involved in this situation when your team's tied and the opposition are tied. His footwork and speed.
They'll take it towards the post and look for a quick play. The ball for Slater, who put a kick in on the first tackle. It bounced back to him, not played at by the Knights. I can't believe he put a kick in. They work it away from dummy half through McDougall. Smith will give it to Orford. It comes to Kearney. He stands like a colossus looking to offload, but he hangs onto it. Johns wrapped him up, captain on captain. Orford back on the inside. He had Robbie Kearns. Again, Johns made the tackle. Smith from dummy half, running behind Scott Hill, and had to give himself up, otherwise it was going to be a shepherd. Here's Slater to Orford. He grubbers. It's a good one, and Tahu takes it across the dead ball line.
Well played by the Melbourne Storm, but defensively, again, the Newcastle team was spot on. Andrew Johns has got himself heavily involved, come up with some crucial tackles at the right moment. He's doing all he can defensively to try and get his team home. Now the Storm alert. Are they back deep enough on this dropout?
With a good one, Johns can drive it well over the halfway line. That's exactly what he does. Hill takes it and he gives it to Moala, who is hanging back there. He's met by Ben Kennedy, and they're 45 metres away from the Newcastle line. Kearns. He almost lost it as he got back to his feet. It comes to Williams, who will play it at the Knights' 30-metre line. Reynolds now takes his turn. Grabbed down low by Badeiros, and he knocked it on.
Hey, listen.
Reynolds lost it. He looks up in disbelief.
We can just worry about your own game.
But there's no doubt he loses it here in the tackle. He might contend it was stripped out. There it is. He put it down. Good call by the referee yet again.
Good call in a high-pressured game. He's had a fantastic game.
Get it in. Good for the goose, good for the game. Out, it was out. That's one!
Lowry picked up here in a strong tackle by Reynoldson. Parsons, little offload. They came up quickly. Kearns trying to put the pressure on him. Siege will play it to Badeiros. A chance here perhaps in the next play after this Warno played the ball for Johns to kick. But he'll take it to the line instead. Turns it back on the inside for Simpson. This is the last play now. Johns kicking from down the short side. Is happy to find the sideline and use up the clock. And it is Newcastle's friend at the moment. 4.5 left. They lead by 4.
Yeah, good play by Johns, finding the touchline. Just chews up the seconds on the clock. He puts it in the air. Slater gets it. Broken field runner, one of the best in the game. Makes a dart of 20 metres. All of a sudden, the Knights are under pressure. They get to compose themselves. They get to have a set start. They've numbered up correctly. They can move forward. It shouldn't be a problem for them this set of 6.
And Melbourne have it through McDougall, who plays it back to Kidwell. Smith only just got there to dummy half in time. Picked up about 10 metres though. And will play it here inside his own 40. Orford from dummy half. Comes to Hill. Give it back to Stephen Kearney. He gives it off to Moala. Comes back in away from the sideline. Perhaps with only A couple of sets left. Orford, well, he might have been thinking about a little chip in behind them for Slater. He put the deep one in. It bounced up for Siege, who played it well off the right hand. Oh, and what a juggle that was. He almost turned it over. It could be a regather that saves the game for Newcastle.
It is a regather that saved the game. 3 minutes left. You would think the Newcastle team would be able to wrap it up here now that they've got their field position. At the end of it, they'll find touch again.
Badiris from dummy half comes to Johns. Here's Kurt Gidley. Taken in a good tackle down low by Scott Hill. Last play here for the Knights. Kennedy has it. Johns is the man they need with it. He puts it high in the air. A chance for Tahu, the leaper, to come down with it. They let Matt King get it, and they wrap him up on top of his own goal line with 2.5 left. McDougall comes back midfield to Billy Slater. He'll play it. Here's McDougall again. No markers for Newcastle, and he picks up 15. Smith, fast play, the ball's the order of the day suddenly. Williams gets them back up towards the 40. Smith to Kearns. They need some magic, and this will be their last play. There's Orford, look at the chip.
They've got to run it. Run it to the right.
Floating behind the line, as was Badiris, waiting for it. They stretch it to the right-hand side. Back on the inside for Slater, who takes the tackle. That will be the turnover.
Oh, tackle. That was Matt Parsons, the biggest man on the field, tackling one of the quickest men in Slater. It had to be made. Also, Slater had to get rid of the football.
Now Tahu has it midfield. If they can work it towards the sideline and put it out of play here, Newcastle must surely win the game. Richardson. What a turnaround it's been for him. From battling to make the first grade side at South Sydney last year, here he is, a regular now for the Knights in the left centre position, on the cusp of making it 2-0 to start the year. A short ball from Kennedy, from Carmont, away to Richardson, who scores the try that wins the game for Newcastle. It's a fairy tale come true for Russell Richardson.
Great play. Johns again, coming from the right over to the left. Short passing game from the Newcastle Knights. Drawing the defender. And Kennedy hits a hole. He gets his arms free. Hill, he needed to go high and wrap the ball up. And then it was Carmont. He quite easily could have scored his third try, but unselfishly, he went to Russell Richardson.
He starts it out wide of the post and hooks it back. What a way to finish it. Newcastle have beaten Melbourne 36-26 here at Olympic Park. The best in the game with a conversion from the sideline as the siren sounded to put the icing on the cake. They start their season 2 wins and no losses and hand Melbourne their first loss of the season after having the bye in the first round. What a game of football, Laurie Daly.
Great game of football by two teams that I'm sure will feature in the semi-finals. Johns, he's missed a couple from there this afternoon. Kennedy was nearby giving him the instructions. He was saying, hook it to the right a little bit more, mate. It'll swing, it'll come round for you. But a great start for the Newcastle Knights. 2 tough games on the road. Another victory here this afternoon. Melbourne Storm in their first game will get better. They've got a tough one against the Dragons next weekend. But the NRL is certainly starting to get hot up already after 2 weekends of the competition.
What an afternoon for George Carmont. 18-year-old from Taree grabs a double on debut against the Melbourne Storm at Olympic Park. It was an amazing game from him and the Newcastle Knights. Glenn Turner scored a try which gave the Melbourne Storm a chance in the game as we go downstairs to Russell Fairfax.
Struggling to get a shot, getting a team last year. Now you're a match winner.
I don't know about a match winner, but it's good to win the game. We were a bit scrappy at times. We were the wrong side of the penalty count, but it's good to win.
An exciting game of football.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we want to make defence our main thing this year, and I think today we defended quite well, but we can do better.
Thanks, Rusty.
Thank you.
Russell Richardson, as we take a look at what's to come here on NRL Sunday on Fox Sports. Of course, we have the Rabbitohs up against the Tigers from 6 p.m. on Fox Sports 2. And then the Broncos up against the Parramatta Eels at Suncorp Stadium. That's at 7:30 p.m. also on Fox Sports 2. Make sure you catch those two games later this evening on Fox Sports 2. Until then, it is goodbye, of course, from Olympic Park. But don't forget, we have NRL Scoreboard coming your way tomorrow night. I'll be along with Laurie Daly and Greg Alexander, bringing you all the highlights from the weekend's play. 8 p.m. on Fox Sports 1, that one. But it is goodbye from Olympic Park. On behalf of Laurie Daly and Russell Fairfax and all the crew, I'm Warren Smith. Until we see you next time, it is goodbye from Melbourne.
This has been a Fox Sports production for the National Rugby League Partnership.